Hello, my friend. My name is Dragonheart, the Prince of Wales, and welcome to Let's Talk Gaming. Hello, my friends. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a great day, week, month, or year, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to Let's Talk Gaming. In today's episode, we shall be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this is a game that I purchased in October, I think, or November of last year. So a couple of months ago. I had the Steel Book edition. Long story short, this was £60 brand new. It was in a Black Friday sale for £30, so 50% off. But I bought it through Game, which had a special Black Friday offer on where you had the Steel Book case that comes with it for free, which is pretty cool. It's literally just the case itself, as my cat decides to interrupt the video. Why does he do this to me all the time? Why? I'm trying to do a video. I'm in my flow as well. I'm in my flow. Right, he's gone. So we'll continue. So I had the Steelbook for free. Basically, it basically cost £10, but in this offer, you get the Steelbook for free and you get the game for £30. And I had the game, but I had points on my game card, so I used like £8 of that. So in total for the Steelbook and the game, it cost me £22 in the end. So pretty good. And for a game that came out only a few months ago, really, I think it's about 5 or 6 months old by this point. It's quite a new game. And for a PlayStation 5 next gen title as well. I mean, I think you can get it on Xbox and stuff as well, but still, that's a really good deal, I think. So as far as the deal goes, and now I've finished the game and everything, I'll tell you at the start of the video here now that I would definitely 100% recommend getting this game if you're not paying full price for it. If you can get it at half price, I think it has come down to like 30 to 40 retail now anyway, so you probably could get it for quite a good deal. But I think, yeah, anything around sort of the £30 range or less, maybe 35 or something, that's a really good deal. I wouldn't pay 60. I'm glad I didn't pay 60 for it. I don't think it's worth that amount of money. So good news and bad news. The good news is I finished the game, and I'm going to be treating this Let's Talk Gaming as a small mini review. I'm not going to spoil things too much in case those of you that are watching or listening want to play the game. But I'm going to give you my thoughts on how I felt the game went and everything. The bad news, a little bit of bad news, is I didn't get the Platinum trophy, which I'm so annoyed by. And I didn't really realise until about halfway through the game that I wasn't going to get it. Long story short, there's 59 trophies to get in the game, and one of them is the Platinum itself. So I finished up on 54 of the 59 trophies. The 4 trophies that I needed to get are basically collectible-based trophies, where one of them is to get all the outfits, one of them is to get all of the collectibles, it's like little stories. You can get little additional dialogue things you can get with different characters when you go back to the Milano, the ship. Like, for example, you pick up like a sword or something, and that'll be on like a Catanian war sword or something. And then Drax will talk to you on the warship about the war and his people from back then. Just like little things like that. But I didn't get all of them. And then one of them was like collect everything, and then the other one was like collect like 50%. And I didn't quite get all of that, which is annoying because I didn't realize until halfway through the game there was other ways and other places on those levels that I could have explored. So I was like, oh damn it, I don't really want to restart the game now I'm this far into it. So I've missed out on the Platinum. Those 4 would have got me the Platinum, and then the 5th would have been the Platinum, and that would have been the 59 in total. So I've got everything else apart from that. The trophy wise, though, yeah, it's collectible based stuff. It is combat stuff, which is really annoying at times. Most of the combat stuff is fine. I'm going to go into this in the review in a second, but the combat related trophies, it's like auto finishers. So it might be like you attack an enemy, and then you'll be given like a prompt to press triangle or square or something, and all of a sudden you'll do an auto finisher with Drax or with Rocket or something. The only problem with this is situational, so you've got to be in the right place with the right sort of enemy and hope that the right Guardian is next to you for that prompt, because you might be, after getting the prompt for Drax, for example, be press the auto thing, all of a sudden Gamora jumps in with you and you do an auto finisher with Gamora when you want Drax. So that's annoying, but there's so many enemies in the game throughout all the different levels that there'll be loads and loads of opportunities to get that. There's actually one trophy called Drax the Dismemberer, which I had a look on YouTube for. There's a YouTuber called Platinum Bro that I watch, and he talks about getting that trophy, and it was super, super annoying. This was obviously back when the game first came out, and I thought I missed my chance to get this trophy because it's on like chapter 6, I think. on this particular enemy type, which is like a boss fight, and I basically didn't get that prompt, and I'd already got to the auto save, so I couldn't even go back. I hadn't saved it before, but the auto save already kicked in, if you get what I mean. So I was like, oh shit, I didn't have two save files, I had just the one at the time. So I thought that was another one I wasn't going to get. Then later on, when you get to like chapter 10 or 11, you come across multiple types of that same enemy type. And they've obviously patched the game since they came out, because you can still do that finisher with Drax on those particular enemies later on in the game, which is really good. So I was like, oh, and the prompt came up and I pressed it, and then Drax did dismembering of this particular enemy, and I got my trophy. I was like, yes, I thought I was going to be a difficult one to get. So I was super happy that I got that. Just a bit gutted that I missed out on the collectibles. Let's talk about the story to begin with. I'm not going to go into too heavy story spoiler stuff here, because, like I said, I don't want to be with that guy that spoils things for you. I'm going to talk about things, but I'm not going to emphasize too much. Obviously, you've got the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're based on the comic books and the movies and stuff, so lots of different things. The actual story of the Guardians in this, it's quite different to the movie, the Marvel movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's a bit more comic book inspired, which I like. The design of the characters is really good. It's not like, you haven't got like Chris Pratt and things like that. You obviously haven't got like, Dave Bautista as Drax and things like that, and voice acting, whatever. Different voice actors stuff, but the voice actors are amazing. I love the designs. The designs are good. You can tell which characters, and I'm happy for like my video games to be a bit different from the movie counterparts. I actually don't mind that at all. So even though like Gamora, I actually, this is weird. I actually think I preferred Gamora's appearance in the game than I did in the Marvel movies. I don't know why, but I think it might have been the way they did the hair. But I just really appreciated it. So the Guardians looked great, sounded great. That's the first thing I want to say. But like I said with the story, there's little backstories and stuff going on within the game. So like Mantis has an existing relationship with Gamora, which you don't really see in the films. Star Lord's backstory is interesting. He's got his mother, and you know that he's a special child, which is obviously explained in the movies and stuff. But you play on that backstory quite a bit via flashbacks and stuff, which is really good. Drax got a really impactful story with his deceased wife and child, which I think is in the movies, but you expand upon that, and that plays into the narrative at some point as well. Rocket, you see sort of things with him, how he has a fear of water, how he has a fear of experimentation and stuff. All of the characters, they don't get lost in the shuffle. Even Groot has some really important things, and Groot, is a very one-dimensional character in a lot of ways, because he doesn't say anything apart from "I am Groot," and then you rely on Rocket to translate. But Groot has some really good moments in this game as well, so I'm glad that they did that with the game. The story is really good. It's probably the strongest part of the game, and there's 16 chapters in total. First chapter being like a tutorial, and the story builds and builds, and it sort of begins very modestly. They're sort of fighting crime. That they are the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy sort of thing, and then they get into a bit of trouble. Then they have like a fine they gotta pay, and then they sort of they lie into like the basically the space police, the Nova Corps, and things go south pretty badly. But things always escalate more and more as the game goes on. So something that's quite petty at the start of the game, just a bunch of space smugglers and pirates just trying to pay a fine, to something that goes beyond that, which is really cool. I'm not going to spoil too much. There are two other characters I do want to mention briefly though. One of them is Corel, who she is a warrior from the Galactic Civil War, which was like 20 to 30 years prior to the game's timeline. And she was amazing. She appears throughout the game, mainly at the start, and you see her later on in the game. But she has a pre-existing relationship with Peter Quill, Star Lord, and she is basically like a love interest from beforehand. But she's this badass warrior, and she also has a kid as well, called Nikki, who's really integral in the story as well. I'm not going to say too much about them, but I love the dynamic and the relationships that Peter Quill has with both of them. You see a side of Peter Quill that you don't really see much in the films to an extent, I'd say. So it's nice to see a different version of Peter Quill, and I appreciate that as well. The music in the game, as you'd expect, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's amazing. It's 70s rock and metal, it's 80s rock and metal and pop, and the full repertoire is there. If you love music from that era, you're gonna love it. it's very fitting with Guardians of the Galaxy. They could have pulled the soundtrack straight from the movie and it would have been fine, but they actually got different songs from the movies, but they still play into it, and you just know, you listen to that sound, like, yeah, that's Guardians of the Galaxy right there. So music is top notch. Combat we're going to talk about next. The combat is fine. I would say the combat is fine. I'm not saying it's spectacular, and I'm not saying it's poor. It's fine. It's passable. It's all right. Yeah, okay, it's all right. So I would describe it as a combination of Ratchet and Clank meets Tales of Arise. And what I mean by that is Ratchet and Clank, when you're playing, you've got like rocket boots, you're flying around, you've got your guns and stuff. You effectively play as Peter Quill, Star-Lord. You've got your dual blasters, which throughout the story they get upgraded to shoot different things. You can shoot like fire from them, you can shoot like ice from them, and things like that. And you've got your standard blasters as well, and you can upgrade certain things with that. A little bit like Ratchet and Clank, we have guns which you upgrade, and you've got your jet boots which you can upgrade as well, and you get like different perks. You can get like extra ammo, extra health, and maybe not ammo, but extra health and extra perk points and things like that which you get out of the game, which is pretty standard and pretty interesting. So that's kind of why it's like Ratchet and Clank, but it's like Tales of Arise mainly because of the combat system with the other Guardians. So in Tales of Arise, you'll be playing as Alden, and you'll have like Shion and all the other characters, and you'll press a button and they'll jump in and do their attack. So they are there on the battlefield with you. They're fighting, they're skirmishing, they're doing whatever. And then you'll press like L1 trigger. You press the L1 button, and then triangle, circle, X, and square all represent a different Guardian. You press the Guardian that you want. That opens up a quick second menu, and there are different abilities you unlock. So you get points throughout the game from fighting. Those experience points you put into different things. Each Guardian, including Peter Quill, can unlock 3 attacks. For example, Rocket has an attack where he basically bombs one of the enemies. Groot has an attack where he shoots vines up through the ground, which lifts 2 or 3 enemies up into the air. And they're all different attacks like that. He's come back again. Look at this. And a little bit like Rocket, isn't he? Anyway, and so yeah, you upgrade them, and then every I keep wanting to say Legends, because I'm playing Apex Legends so much. Every character within the game, including Peter Quill, has a special attack, or special ability, which you unlock via story-based progression. So there'll come a moment. I'm going to tell you what Peter's is. I won't tell you the rest. But Peter basically gets to a point around midway through the game where he finally has to face his fears. It's monumental. He's not running anymore. He's turning back and fighting. That's the kind of thing anyway. And then because he's done that, you've now unlocked his special ability, which is like it's a momentary invincibility ability. So you press it and you're invincible for like 20 seconds when you're fighting, which is pretty handy in like boss fights and stuff, especially when the fights, you get more enemies as the game goes on, and you get harder bosses as the game goes on as well. So you do appreciate little things like that, which will help you in the fight. Combat is not difficult when you've fully upgraded the entire Guardians. Like, you know, it's not just like if you've got like 5 or 6 enemies that are really high level, got lots of armor and stuff. You can spam like triangle, circle, X, square, and all of a sudden, all of them together can do an auto attacks plus yourself. So like you could be shooting down somebody, Gamora can just be hacking them away. Drax can use a charge ability where he runs right through them and knocks them all into the air. Groot can knock them all into the air with his vines. And you just combine all these different moves and stuff to make some spectacularly amazing combat, but at the same time, you are quite overpowered by a certain point in the game. The final battle and a couple of other battles towards the end were a bit tricky. I did die on them though. Technically, I did die on the one, but Groot has an ability that you can unlock which helps revive teammates and stuff. So I didn't die as in game over kind of die, but I did die as in my health was gone, if that makes sense. So that's the combat in a nutshell. Like I say, it's good. I think you'd have to give it a go to see whether you would like it or not, but I personally thought it was all right. I can't really say too much. Graphically speaking, the game looks amazing, but there are a few little things which could have been better. Mainly to do with like popping and things like that. For example, you'll get like a cutscene where you've got like spaceships and you've got like the mastermind, which is like a space head basically talking to you about stuff. And you've got like a massive fleet sort of flying past. You get like a scene like that. And like in the foreground, you'll get like spaceships and you'll see like low resolution textures and stuff on those ships as they're coming past. And it's like, oh, that's a bit of a disappointment. It's 2022 and I'm playing this on my PS5 and I'm getting like low res on stuff. Kind of like, come on, sort it out, you know? So there's little things like that. There's a couple of other little things as well. Like I was watching a cutscene a bit earlier. I finished the game earlier, but literally just as I started recording this, I finished the game, but about half hour ago. I was watching a cutscene earlier, and like I could see like the outline of somebody's arm past somebody else's like head, like and like behind it for a brief second. It was like little things like that in cutscenes mainly, where I'm like, oh, that could be a bit better. A little bit of pop in and stuff here and there. It's not game breaking in any way or sense at all. It's not like, oh my god, but it's something I need to mention and be honest about, because it is something that is a little bit disappointing, I guess. Not game breaking, but still enough of a concern to mention it, I'd say. So combat's alright, story's amazing, music's amazing, and the game itself overall, I would probably give this game it's going to be somewhere between like an 8 and an 8 an 8 and an 8.5 out of 10, I would say. I don't think I can give it any higher than 8.5. I've mentioned some positives, I've mentioned some negatives. The game itself, like I say, I'm a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I enjoy it. So I'm pretty much going to this game knowing what I'm going to expect and things like that. But if you're somebody who doesn't really know much about Marvel or care that much about Guardians of the Galaxy, then you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed, as my cat goes past by. Thank you for moving the microphone towards me. You're so useful. But overall, yeah, I would say an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. But like I said at the start of the video, I wouldn't pay full price for it. Don't pay full price. Don't be paying more than £40. Try and get a good deal. There's some good deals out there. Look, in the summer, look in the summer now for summer sales or things like that. It's possible. My cat is just like everywhere at the moment. It's possible to get a cheaper deal like I did. I paid £22. Like for £22 is a 10 out of 10. But for £22 for value for money, I'd have to say it's a 10 out of 10. But for if I'm looking objectively at the game and everything, I'd have to say that it was probably an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. Anyway, guys, I hope this video has been helpful. I've been Dragonheart. Until next time, goodbye.